everybody, we are going to talk about A Christmas Horror Story. Now, I did list this back in my streaming site where you can watch it. For streaming, you'd have to watch that video to see which one is on. I own the DVD of this, so I didn't have to go searching on it for streaming. But I would have included where you could find it to stream, but I have a whole video of where you can find different horror movies at what streaming site, so go check that out. But A Christmas Horror Story, it's 2015. IMDb gives it a 5.7 out of 10. And this is kind of an anthology of sorts. It's an interwoven stories that take place on Christmas Eve. I previously said this movie was basically Santa versus Krampus because I'd forgot what it was about and I just went by the cover. So yeah, when I was talking about it previously on the streaming site, I said it was Santa versus Krampus. That's not totally the case on this. And I normally do more research on that, but I saw the cover and I just didn't research it more, so I failed on that aspect. This is really not a typical anthology movie. It's not like a storyteller story, and then it'll tell one story, then flip to another, then flip to another. This one, it has all the stories kind of broken up throughout the movie. Like, you'll be watching one story, and then it'll flip and start playing another story before the other one's over, and then it'll flip. It'll just kind of tell you what's going on in each character's life at the moment. It's not like with Scare Package. I was just talking about the shirts I got, where it's a story that's like a starter story, and then goes and tells one story, goes back to the starter story, and then goes in and they're start telling another story. It's not like that kind of anthology, but it is several different stories. William Shatner is in this movie, and he was about the only one. The Santa looked familiar, but I looked up his name and I couldn't place where I've seen him before, and I forgot to write down his name. But William Shatner was about the only one I really recognized, and how can you not recognize William Shatner? And this is the one I was talking about excuse me, where Walmart didn't like the title of this movie, so they changed the slipcover because they didn't like it saying A Christmas Horror Story, so they changed it to say A Holiday Horror Story. But if you took the slipcover off, I believe it still said A Christmas one. They only changed the slipcover, if I remember correctly, because I couldn't find the information on that. I'm just trying to go off memory. Shatner in this is a radio host, and at first I thought, he was the one that was going to start up each story, but his is a story that's along with the anthology. One of the stories is a family that trespasses to go. They go to do like a lot of people do, go down and cut down a Christmas tree for Christmas. I guess it was on Christmas Eve, because this all takes place on Christmas Eve. We've never went and cut down Christmas trees because I'm highly allergic, so I cannot have a Christmas tree. So I've never taken place in that. So yeah, I cannot have a real Christmas tree. I cannot touch anything pine scented. No pine cones, nothing. I will blow up like a balloon. No cleaners, no nothing. So we've never taken place in that. But anyway, they cut down the tree, and the wife is kind of edgy because they're trespassing. But they go and cut down the tree, and they're coming back, and the kid gets separated, and they find him inside of a tree trunk. Well, and to come to find out that it's not what it seems. The kid is not the same after that. And the dad in this is the cop from another story. And that story is that these kids break into the school and they're trying to do kind of like a story on a murder that took place in the school. And the cop comes from that story, because he was the one, him and some other cops were the ones that was making the video and discovered the bodies and whatnot. So you see him in that story, and then he has his own story. And in that story with the kids, it's like a ghost that is keeping them hostage and then causing the mayhem and whatnot. Then there's another story with Santa. Now Santa and the elves, and then the elves end up getting like a sickness and turns into zombies. And that one was quite interesting and quite fun seeing the zombie elves. And then there's another one where a family is visited by Krampus. And I would say Krampus is pretty badass looking in this movie. I also kind of suspect that there's more than one Krampus in this movie. And without giving out a huge plot point, you'll know what I'm talking about, because there's the one that's in that story where they're hunting down the family, and this spirit of Krampus like possesses you if you have like hatefulness in you at like Christmas or something like that. You allow the spirit of Krampus. And then there's another one that takes place within, kind of between the Santa storyline and the radio host storyline, which that Krampus, I'm pretty sure is a different Krampus, but if I get more into it, I will spoil it, so not getting into that. And there are a few jump scares. There's a decent amount of blood, and Santa and Krampus do battle, so I wasn't totally wrong on that. It's just not the whole movie is based on that like I claimed it to be. But Krampus and Santa do battle. And there is a cutscene during the credits, and at the very end of the credits it says no elves were harmed in this movie. So my husband was actually kind of watching here and there, and he caught that and he thought that was pretty funny. He was kind of confused between the jumping stories, but he wasn't paying full attention. I tried to explain to him how I thought there was two Krampuses, but I said I don't want to get more into it than that without giving a spoiler. But this movie is quite enjoyable and definitely something to add to your Christmas horror movie watching. I give it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was pretty well done. So it's definitely something to check out. And if you want to see where it's streaming, check out my video of where to find Christmas horror movies and what streaming site or whatever I titled it. But go check out that video because I forgot where it was. Like I said, I own the DVD to this, so I didn't add it, and I'd already talked about it. So definitely check that out and like, subscribe, do a lot of fun stuff. I'll see you next time.